The evolution of Batman films, from campy to dark and gritty. Batman, The Dark Knight, has gone through an incredible evolution on the silver screen. From the colorful and campy days of Adam West's portrayal in the 1960s to the gritty realism of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, Batman has always been a reflection of the times. But what happens when the Caped Crusader takes a turn so dark, so terrifying, that he almost becomes something out of a horror film?
Please, it's Batman!
In the early days, Batman was more of a charming detective, battling whimsical villains in bright costumes. Adam West's portrayal in the 1960s TV series was iconic for its time, full of bam and pow moments, making it fun for the whole family. But as the decades passed, filmmakers began exploring the darker side of Gotham City, bringing out the true essence of what it means to be the Batman. Then came Tim Burton's Batman in 1989, with Michael Keaton donning the cowl. This was a game changer, introducing a brooding Batman and a Gotham dripping with Gothic atmosphere. But even Burton's vision, with all its shadowy undertones, was just the beginning of a deeper dive into the darkness. Christopher Nolan took things further with his Dark Knight trilogy, giving us a Batman rooted in reality. Here, Batman was more than just a hero. He was a symbol, a dark force in a corrupt city. Nolan's Batman, portrayed by Christian Bale, was intense, and his villains were terrifyingly real, especially Heath Ledger's Joker. Fans and critics alike praised this darker, more grounded take on the character. But the darkest version of Batman was yet to come. Enter Zack Snyder's vision. When Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice hit theaters, audiences were introduced to a Batman like no other. Ben Affleck's Batman wasn't just dark, he was menacing, almost like a creature from a nightmare. This Batman wasn't afraid to cross lines, to terrify his enemies, to make you question if he was more of a horror movie monster than a superhero. This version, inspired by Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, was brutal, angry, and haunted by his past. In Snyder's Justice League, especially the Snyder Cut, this Batman goes even deeper into the abyss. Here, he is a man on a mission, willing to do whatever it takes to protect the world, even if it means sacrificing his humanity. The way Snyder portrayed Batman pushed the boundaries of how dark a superhero film could be, and it wasn't just unsettling, it was outright terrifying. This wasn't the Batman you grew up with. This was a Batman that could give you nightmares. However, not everyone was ready for this shift. Snyder's take on Batman was criticized by some fans, particularly those who preferred the more hopeful tone of Marvel films. They argued that Batman had become too dark, too scary, straying too far from his heroic roots. But for others, this was the Batman they had been waiting for, a true embodiment of the Dark Knight, someone who could stand as a beacon of fear to the villains of Gotham and beyond. As we look back at the evolution of Batman on film, it's clear that each iteration has brought something unique to the table. But in terms of sheer darkness and the ability to haunt your dreams, Ben Affleck's Batman, as envisioned by Zack Snyder, stands alone. This isn't just a hero fighting for justice. This is a warrior, a demon in the shadows, and perhaps the scariest Batman we've ever seen.